So you have 20 to 25,000 pounds to spend on a new vehicle, and you fancy the idea of a multi-purpose vehicle. You've taken a good look around and see what's available on the market. Your wife likes the idea of one, the kids like the idea of one, but how practical are these cars in terms of general life? Well, we've got two others today, the world-acclaimed Ford Galaxy and the all-new Vauxhall Sintra, and we're going to take a close look and drive them and see what they're really like. First of all, let's take a close look at the Galaxy. So first impressions once you get inside the Ford Galaxy are fairly good. The seats feel okay, but we believe that on a long journey they're not tremendously comfortable. You get these nice armrests, which I'm particularly fond of, and the finish is okay. The main worry about the Galaxy though is the expanse of plastic. It's just a huge area of plastic and you can't see the bonnet, and the front of the car seems a long way away, and that can be very difficult if you're trying to park in a tight parking situation. You also get rather dinky little cup holders, although how long those cup holders will actually last when the kids get about them is another matter. You get air conditioning as well. Now, one thing about the Galaxy is that you can get a very good driving position due to the adjustable steering wheel, which comes forward and up and down, so you can find that perfect position, and that's one feature that some of the MPVs don't have on. The Sintra we've got here today doesn't have an adjustable steering wheel, neither does the Mercedes V-Class. Now, one of the things that concerns us on Men and Motors are the controls on the Ford Galaxy. They're rather tacky, they're very short and stubby, and when you're actually driving we've had difficulty in finding the right controls. We ended up changing the CD when we wanted to flash headlights and vice versa, silly little things like that. This one's cruise control and also the indicators. This one is the radio down here, and you get the windscreen wipers on the right hand side, but they're just that little bit small. If you've only got short fingers and you're in a driving position, they're not terribly easy to use. One of the other main gripes we've found about the Galaxy when you're out driving on the motorways particularly is the visibility through the back. In the driving seat you're looking through your rear view mirror and all you can see practically is headrests. You get the three in the middle, the two at the back, and very little visibility through the back seat, particularly if there are other cars low down at normal level cars coming up behind you. You're probably going to have a lot of difficulty in seeing those. So that is a real problem in the Galaxy. The headrests get in the way an awful lot. This particular Galaxy model is the 2.3, which is a brand new engine, and this is the Gear X specification. Now in the back there are 3 seats for the passengers. We've got 2 in the back here as well. And there's a reasonable amount of leg room. Passengers get these nice little airline style picnic trays as well to put their drinks on as well. But not a lot of areas to put storage. Bins are sadly lacking. Things like the Scenic have nice bins under the seats and under the floor as well. I mean, this is a high floored car, but there seems to be a real lack of all-round storage areas in this Galaxy. Now, the Ford Galaxy is one of the nicer styled MPVs around. You get a nice roof spoiler, nice little bit of chrome as well from Ford. And in the back, with the 2 seats that we have fitted here, luggage space is not huge. We've got all our junk in here. Storage bins in the rear, well, we've got a CD changer fitted to this model, and that's in there. But over the other side, where you thought there might be a little area for storage, there is nothing, which is rather a mystery. You're not going to get a lot of suitcases in the back of this when you have all the seats fitted, so that's a downside on these particular MPVs. Now, although we've been critical of 1 or 2 aspects of the Ford Galaxy, we are very impressed overall by the car, and of course the criticisms that we made of it do apply to the Seat Alhambra and the Volkswagen Charan. But the one area where the Ford scores over the Seat and the Volkswagen is under the bonnet, because this has the new 2.3 litre power plant and it's a cracker. So out on the road is one area where the Ford Galaxy really scores over probably most of the other MPVs. The handling and ride is tremendously good. It corners remarkably well for what is essentially a very big car. Ford have sold over 16,000 Galaxies since its introduction back in 1995, and that's made it Britain's best-selling MPV, setting new standards in design, ride and handling. And this new 2.3 litre engine delivers a really exciting driving experience thanks to its class-leading torque, which is delivered consistently across a wide range. The 2.3 litre engine produces 145 brake horsepower and comes with either a 5-speed manual or adaptive 4-speed automatic gearbox. And it's available in 3 different models: the GLX, the highly specified Gear and the Gear X models. So this is Vauxhall's rather late entry into the MPV market, the all-new Sintra, with that distinctive V on the front of its grille, so you can immediately tell it is a Vauxhall. It has a rather bland style to it. I've lived with this vehicle for the past week or so now, and my impressions are fairly okay. There's certainly some gripes about the driving position, which I'll tell you about in just a moment. But it comes with a choice of 2 engines. You get a 2.2 litre 5-speed manual, which is this car, or you can go for the top of the range CDX, which comes with a 3 litre V6. The car is actually built in America, in Doraville in Georgia, and it's been designed by the Americans, but they were given the brief to make sure it had certain European styles to it, and I think probably GM have come up with that. And in America you can get this badged as a Pontiac or as an Oldsmobile. So let's take a look at the driving position, which is one of my main problems with this car. Now this is one of the main areas that I've had a problem with, the driving position of the Sintra. Now you can change the seat into, well, pretty much any different way, up and down, forwards and backwards, and plenty of rake and adjustment there. But the problem I had particularly is with the pedals and the accelerator pedal mainly. I found it very difficult to get a comfortable driving position with the foot there, and after a long journey back from Luton last week, my ankle and my knee were aching rather badly after that long drive. So I have had a problem trying to get a comfortable driving position. But inside it's fairly comfortable. Again, you get these nice armrests, everything is nicely laid out, there's a good stereo in it, and you can see the readout of the stereo there. There's a temperature and a time on that kind of central control panel. Now standard equipment on the Sintra is very high, as you would expect. This is the CD model, the 2.2 litre engine. You get ABS brakes as standard, you get air conditioning, you get a quality stereo system. Some other rather odd little areas, like this thing here, don't quite know what it's for. Maybe it's for sunglasses, little extra storage bin up there. There's a good sized glove box as well, and of course the usual cup holders for the old bottled water and cans of drink, and an extra power cord as well for plugging your mobile phone or any other accessory you might want to put into there. One of the nice aspects on the Sintra is sliding doors, which you get both sides on this car, which you don't get of course on the Galaxy. You get sliding doors as well on some of the other MPVs, the Citroën, the Fiat and the Peugeot have them as standard. In the back, legroom is not tremendously good for passengers. It's okay for the kids, but taking adults, there's not a huge amount of support, and no support for the thighs there either. These seats are right the way back. As I mentioned before, you don't get any cup holders, there are no picnic trays in the back either. But the seats are fairly comfortable all in all, and I'm sure the kids will be very happy in the back of one of these. But hang on a minute, there are even more seats in the back, and let's take a look at those. Getting into the rear of the Sintra is fairly easy. There's a nice little clip there which is easy to use, and climbing in and out of the rear is quite comfortable really. This model is fitted with the extra 2 seats. You can have a row of seats which would perhaps take passengers up to a total of 8 in this particular model. You also get the cup holders. There are other little cubby holes, lights in the back as well. Not a lot of room in the rear, but okay for the kids, and that's the main point of these MPVs. You know, you're not going to carry about 8 fully grown adults in the back of these things. The kids will be fine in the back, and they do love it in the back of these MPVs. Now, General Motors engineers were told to come up with an MPV that really drives like a car. And I have to say, it does drive like a car when you're out on the road. If it wasn't for the uncomfortable driving position that I've found, it would be a very nice car to drive. There's plenty of power there, particularly from the 2.2 litre 139 brake horsepower car. This is the CD, or of course you can go for the 3 litre V6 with 198 brake horsepower. And the size of the Sintra is particularly good. It's 5 inches shorter than an Omega Saloon. Well, we've had time to assess these MPVs from Ford and from Vauxhall, and what are our final impressions? Well, we like the Sintra. It's a very solid car. Inside there's plenty of space to take all the family and the luggage. The driving position is not tremendously good. We're not keen on that. But for style, that probably goes to the Galaxy, and particularly if you're going to get a Galaxy, make sure you get this new 2.3 litre engine, because that's an absolute cracker. But make sure, if you are going to buy a multi-purpose vehicle, to take your time and decide carefully that you buy the right one. There are lots of MPVs on the market from all the main manufacturers now. And if you want to buy an MPV, why not go into the showroom of the one you really fancy and say, give me one to drive for the weekend so I can test it out and see what it's really like with the kids and luggage and go away for the weekend in it and see how it feels.